all you lovely kings, queens, and in-betweens, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Elaine, and today I'm going to be opening this big old box I just got from Japan, which contains my new Mega House, Naruto Gals DX Naruto Shippuden Hinata Hyuga Ver.4 figure. This is the most expensive figure in my collection to date, and I've been tracking its arrival for quite some time now, and I'm really excited to open this up. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump right into things after showing off the box. The first thing I will say is that the box is quite large. This came in its own shipment in a box that was a little more than half my size in both directions. It was an absolutely massive box, and after taking out the inner boxes, what's left isn't much smaller than what I started with, although it is perhaps 6 inches smaller all around. So it can be a little unwieldy to manage this box. What I do like about it is that it has a nice white background, so all of the text and the figure images pop. You can see that it's from the Gals series, Naruto Gals DX, Mega House. This is in fact a Naruto figure, or Naruto Universe figure, and it's also from Bandai Namco. You can see clearly that this is the Hinata figure, and as you turn the box around, you can see a lot of the details, such as the ground she's standing on, which has been torn up by the use of her power, force blast, if you will, of her power, her Bakugan, her hair fluttering. There's a lot of movement betrayed by how she's standing, and you could see that from the box. You can also make out some dirt in some of the images on the box on her face, and I'm wondering if that is actually there or that's just a design decision for the outside box. Now, without any further ado, I'm finally going to open the box and reveal what's inside. As to be expected, there is a lot of plastic in here, and this is our first view of the figure. We can see Hinata, we can make out the base that she's going to be standing on, and all of the other components of this figure. Altogether, it's supposed to be roughly 12 or so inches tall and another 12 wide. Before I take her out, I'm just going to show another image of her in the plastic close up, so you know how this is laying out in the box. So if you get this and you need to put her back in the box, or at least the plastic that she comes in, so if you ever need to transfer her, you might have an idea of how to get her back in the box safely without damaging the box. Now I'm just going to pull everything out of the box and give a quick little overview of everything that's in here. The first thing we see is the base. We also have Hinata clearly displayed herself. We have some loose rubble, or if you'd prefer, rocks. And then we see the force of her power, in addition to some extra crystallized pillars with some more rocks on them. Something interesting to note, and I don't know if this is just the case for my box because I got lucky, or this is just the case in general, there are no directions for how to put this figure together, which is something I expect with figures. I've seen it in every other figure I've ever bought, but this doesn't have those directions on how to get it together, so I'm just gonna have to wing it. Unfortunately, winging it didn't work out so well for me. I don't know if I just didn't put things in the ideal order, or maybe my hands are a little too big for this figure, but whatever the case, I wound up having to stick a rock into the supports in a really awkward position because I couldn't get the figure back out. So I'm trying to just smash everything into the corner around the side of the figure, which I had put in first. I think the best way would probably have been to put the support and pillar for the starburst in first, put in the rocks that cover that afterward, and then put in the pillar that Hinata is standing on before putting her in with the remaining rocks. One of them is kind of hard to pick out. It's on the side of the pillar, and there's another on the front of the pillar, and that's where all the rocks go. It actually took me a really long time to find, so in case you don't have directions, I wanted to point that out in case you missed it as well. Now that I've opened the figure and put it all together, I want to take some time to give it a little review. I'm going to start with the things I don't like about the figure, and then talk about the things that I do like so we can end on a positive note. As I mentioned previously, I did not receive directions. I don't know if this is going to be the case for everybody, but because I didn't receive directions, I didn't put it together in an ideal way. So it was very hard to put together. It took me the better part of an hour, and that was a little frustrating for me. This figure also features a lot of different textures and rough edges, which is both a good and a bad. Bad in the sense that it's very easy to prick yourself or otherwise hurt yourself while you're handling it. Good because I like the look aesthetically and feel like it adds a lot of depth to the figure that might not otherwise be there. The other downside to the textures on this one in particular stem from the crystal pillars themselves. The ends are very narrow and spindly, so they may bend during handling or become slightly bent at the end or curled at the end, which isn't ideal when you want them to be straight and look like how they do on the box. Other than that, I don't really have anything negative to say about the figure. I think that the base is very stable. I like the textures. I like the depth that it adds to the figure. I like how Hinata is perched on the pillars and how the way she is portrayed betrays movement. It looks like she's jumping up and in action. She's using her various jutsu to fend off an opponent, and you can see the force of her action, which I really like in the front, and and you could see her hair fluttering in a wind behind her, which I also like because it betrays movement. I like that her Byakugan are very clearly shown on her face, but I don't see the dirt from the box on her face at all. The only downside to having the force of her power extending out in front of her on this figure is that it's very hard to look at her from an angle where you could see all of her. It really gets in the way and becomes a focal point, which may be good for some people, may be bad for others. Personally, I like the look of the force field, but I also want to be able to appreciate Hinata at the same time, and I feel like that's just not possible if you're looking at her dead on. It's a little more possible if you're looking at her from the sides, but it's still very hard to do that. And if you look from the back, you're obviously getting a very different angle and a very different view. I will say that I feel like they captured Hinata's essence very well. I think they stayed true to the franchise and her appearance in the show. The developers did a great job ensuring that the color of her clothes and the texture of her clothes and little details like that were true to how she appears in the franchise. And overall, I'm very happy with this figure despite these minor issues. So if you have some spare change lying around, I would definitely suggest you go and pick this up. I think it's a great addition to my own collection. I think it'll be a great addition for yours as well. And there you have it, my unboxing of my Naruto Gals DX Naruto Shippuden Hinata Hyuga figure. What did you think of my unboxing? Would there have been something you would have preferred to see? Should I have done this differently? Do you like how I did more of a close-up style this time around? Is this something you'd like to see again in the future? Or should I go back to how I did things before, where you could see not only the figure, but myself as I unbox? What do you think of Hinata? What do you think of these Gals DX Naruto Shippuden figures? Who's your favorite Naruto gal? Let me know down below in the comments. I always like to know what you kings, queens, and in-betweens think. And if you like what you saw here today, please smash that like button until it's blue. Subscribe, ring that bell so you always know what's up, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye, guys.